So in this video, we're going to talk about how to go back, how to undo. Here I am. I had, if you might have watched the previous videos, I had made an extra stitch and I just dropped it. But what results are these four little stitches that are more loose than all of the ones around them. And they mess with my tension. On the purl side, it's even easier to see because they make this gap. See it there? Loose stitches. If that dissatisfies me, if I don't want that in my work, I need to back out. I don't have to start over. That's overkill. But I do need to back up. And when you back up, I've got this set up like I was knitting. So my yarn is attached to my needle that's in my right hand, and I would have been going to knit the next stitch here. So if I want to go backwards, I want to take the tip of my left needle and insert it into the loop below the one on my knitting needle. Return that stitch to the left needle and pull my right needle loop out. Into the stitch below and pull it out. Into the stitch below and pull it out. Now you want to be careful that you don't get too far down. If you get too far down, you're down here, and when you pull this out, you actually pull out 2 rows. Do you see that? Now I have a float back here that isn't really a thing. We'll get it in a minute. Just keep backing out. Back up, back up. Periodically I stop and wind that yarn onto my finger so I can keep tension. This is much easier if everything is under tension. Back up, back up, back up. Now I'm to my edge stitch. The edge stitch is kind of a bear. You can indeed get down into it, but it's hard to see. So sometimes I pinch it below and I pull. There's the row I was just taking out, and there's the last stitch of the next row, and then pick up that loop. Again, right leg forward, closest to me. Now I'm going to be going in the opposite direction. My yarn is now attached to my left needle, but I still want all of my stitches mounted right leg forward, so I'm going to take my right needle and I'm going to scoop from the right and pull it towards me. Now, why didn't I flip it over and continue going the other direction with the yarn in my right hand? Well, for starters, I can't see what's going on as well from the wrong side. So I want to know that the right side of my fabric looks correct. Now I've encountered these loose stitches. You can see them here on my needles. The tension does not look like everything else. These are the ones that were troublesome that I set out to remove. So I'm nearly done. I just have to back this one out, and this one out, and this one out. And then just for good measure, I'm going to back one more out and make sure I got all of that uneven tension out of my row. Now I have to decide how to proceed to continue on with my knitting. My yarn is attached to my left needle, which means I need to turn everything around. Once I turn everything around, I am looking at the purl side of my fabric. My yarn is now in my right hand, and I am ready to go forward. This does not change if you are a continental knitter. If you knit with the yarn in your left hand, the yarn is still attached to your right hand needle for most people. There are some styles that do that in the opposite direction where they knit from the right needle to the left, but most of the time the yarn ends up, the stitches that you are making on this row end up on the right needle. So I would set myself up with the yarn attached to my right needle. My right needle is in my right hand. Now my yarn is tensioned in my left to continue purling continental. And I would just go on.